Hello, girls. Okay, so today we are going to begin with the poem Provide by Robert Frost. Okay, now just like his earlier poems that we have studied, this poem also talks about a very important life philosophy. Talks about the difficulties of finding one's own path through life. Okay, the poet through the poem confronts themes of life, death, and legacy. Basically, Frost is pondering upon what will be left once we are gone. Okay, what will be left once we're dead. It begins with a poet describing one woman, Abishag, who used to be a very beautiful actress but is now an ugly crone. Now, by crone, he means an ugly person. Crone is a word, an abuse used for a person who's grown old and who has grown senile and is not in the right senses. Okay, now she is forced to clean as a servant. She can fall from grace, and so can you, the poet implies. Falling from grace, as in your fame and your success, um, these are all momentary. They will stay with you for a fleeting moment, and then the next moment you will find yourself falling from all that fame and success. Okay, so let's start reading and let's try to decipher the poem as we read. The witch that came, the withered hag, to wash the steps with pail and rag, was once the beauty Abishag. Okay? He refers to this old lady as the witch and the withered hag, the old hag. Now, these are all words used for old women. Okay? So he says that this old person that you can see, this ugly creature that you can see, who is washing the steps with pail and rag, was once the beauty Abishag. Now Abishag is a name which occurs in Bible, which comes up in Bible. Abishag was a 12-year-old girl who was chosen as a servant for King David, and she was asked to lie with King David to keep him warm in bed but not have sex with him. Okay, so it's a very typical allusion, very typical allusion. Okay, so this poem, as you can see, is divided into seven stanzas, and these seven stanzas are separated with three lines. Now, these three lines is known as tercets. So, the poem is actually very short and it discusses a philosophy of life, which is not just philosophy but the actual reality. Okay, so through the poem, the speaker will also suggest that a person should rather purchase friendships, not strike friendships, but purchase friendships and focus on wealth, fame, and power. But in the end, everyone needs to provide themselves for the kind of life they are willing to die with. So here, when he says provide, he's actually pointing out to the state of mind that a person should have, or the kind of life that a person needs to live with or to die with, basically. So he says that it entirely depends on you as a person how you want to die, whether you want to die a person who has left a lot of relationships, who has left a lot of love in the world, has left a lot of memories in the world, or whether you want to die a, an old person who was sitting in a corner and who's not really taken care of. So it entirely depends on you what state of mind you want to die in, but death is inevitable. It will come for all of us. That's what he's trying to say through the poem. All right. Okay. So in the first stanza, like we just said, the speaker introduces the reader to a female character whose name is Abishag, like we just saw. Okay. Now he describes her as a witch and a withered hag, but despite her current appearance and perception, Abishag was a beautiful woman at one point of time. All right. Okay, moving on to stanza 2. The picture pride of Hollywood. Too many fall from great and good for you to doubt the likelihood. Now, he tells us that this woman was not just beautiful, but she was a starlet, a Hollywood starlet. Starlet means somebody who was a fantastic actor, who had attained fame for her beauty and her acting skills. Okay, so it situates the poem in the world of Hollywood and it discusses Abishag as a famous heroine. She is described as a star who was once a beauty and was known far and wide for her beauty, okay? But she has now fallen. The poet points this out here that she has fallen, and he is underlining the fact that lots of people have fallen from grace, and they and and therefore you need to realize this fact that this is the harsh reality of life. Everybody achieves success and fame at one point in life, but with time that success wanes and we fall. Okay, so you should never doubt this likelihood. You should never be doubting this fact that you are going to fall from grace sometime. Next paragraph. Die early and avoid the fate, or if predestined to die late, make up your mind to die in state. Now, the speaker moves into a broader depiction of the story. He refers directly to the reader here. When he uses the second person narrative, he's addressing the reader as you. Now, he has shifted his focus from the characters that he's using, and he's directly pointing towards you. The main point that he focuses on is how to live and the power of fate. Okay, there are two points that he's trying to highlight. One, how to live, and second, power of fate. The speaker tells the reader that they should die early and avoid fate. Now he's suggesting that if you really want to avoid the fate, you need to die early. Okay, now this is a very blatant and absurd directive that he's giving here, and he's aware of this absurdity. He's very aware of the direct absurdity of his directive, and through his language he attempts to make a larger statement of on life, loss, and how those two things are reconciled within one's mind. Okay, he says here the you see here the use of the word state. This word, die in state. Right. The use of the word state here refers to a particular way of being. One should die as they choose, okay, with the correct appearance portrayed to the outside world. Either way, everyone has to face death eventually. But how we face death is what is important. Okay? You can die early and avoid the fate. But if you are predestined, you are supposed to die late, then you need to make up your mind in what state you would like to die. Okay? Whether you want to die rich, being surrounded by people, or whether you want to die alone. Any which way, death has to be faced eventually. Okay? So, we're going to stop here for this lecture, and we'll continue with the last 4 stanzas tomorrow in another recorded lecture. As of now, I need you people to go through the poem your own way and understand, try and make an understanding of what you come to realize. Okay? Thank you.